Well, hey there, friends. It's Chris from the Rate the Record podcast, and it's time for something. Oh, sorry. What's that, little bird? Oh, it's time for the NMR. There's 3 new songs for me to review. Okay, I'll do that right now. Thank you, little bird. Excellent. I guess we'll get right into it, huh? Oh, what's that, little bird? Oh, I have to move over so that way the graphics can fit on the screen? I guess you're right. I usually do that kind of thing, huh? Alrighty then. Thank you, little bird. That was stupid. So first up on the list, we have The Rolling Stones, a band that literally needs no introduction, so I'm not going to bother, other than telling you that they have a brand new album on the way, their 26th album. They've been around forever and ever. It's due out in October and actually has a star-studded lineup including Elton John, Lady Gaga, Paul McCartney, Stevie Wonder, and more. The album is going to be called Hackney Diamonds, and the first single that they've released is Angry. So the first thing that I noticed about this song is Mick Jagger's voice, and I've never really been bothered by Jagger's voice at all. It's been fine. It suits the Rolling Stones. It's iconic at this point. But God, does it sound really nasally in this song, like a lot more than it usually does, and it honestly gets kind of distracting after a while. Even though I can see where the energy in the music is coming from, it personally doesn't really do a whole lot for me. Like, I don't know. For a while, the instrumentals feel like your typical Stones affair, and that's fine, I guess. But the chorus, though, is where I kind of have an issue, because it just feels like uninspired, polished, modern piece of butt rock, you know? Just... It's not really doing it for me, and it just doesn't feel like they were willing to take any chances with this one. Now, obviously, I know that they're not looking to go too crazy, especially with how long they've been around and how old they are now, but this really kind of lacks any of the edge that some of the older tracks had that made them better. Even the tracks from like the 90s and early 2000s and stuff like that, it's just not here. So overall, I would say don't expect too much from a band going into their 26th album, especially since they've been around since the 60s, so it just goes to show how long this career has truly been. It's still fun for like a car ride though, and maybe to have on at a barbecue, but for me personally, I don't get too much from it, but maybe you'll feel differently about it. Next up on the list, we have The Kills. They are a 2-piece garage rock band out of England, but they're more prominent in the US now. They technically started in England, and we've covered them on the show before, I know, because the card just appeared above my head, and you should click on that maybe a little later after I'm done doing this review. And like the Stones, they have a brand new album coming out this October. It's their 6th studio album, so they have 20 more to catch up with the Rolling Stones. The new album's gonna be called God Games, and the song that I'm looking at today is 103. This was probably a lot calmer than I was expecting, but granted, you never really get anything too crazy from The Kills, so... maybe I had false expectations. It's hard to say. There's an echoing, like, industrial style drum beat that fits in really well with this, like, wavy sounding guitar. I like the whole chill atmosphere of it. There is eventually a pickup that comes in. It doesn't take too long, about a minute, maybe a little more, and it brings a lot more energy and aggression to the track, although it's, like, not too overboard or anything like that. It's just like a minor pickup, but it's appreciated. During our review for The Kills 2, I had mentioned that Alison Mosshart is an absolute rock star. She has a great voice too. I've always loved it. I know she's like in her mid to late 40s now, but you know what? It still suits so well. She has a great voice for this style of music. Between the both quieter and louder portions of this track, it just always finds this really good middle ground. So I don't think there's ever been a track of hers that I've heard that I haven't appreciated her voice in, and nothing's changed right now. Overall, it's a relatively short track, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually really good. I dig the mood of this track. There's not a whole lot going on in this one, but I did enjoy what was there. Definitely curious about the rest of the album when that eventually drops in October. I liked The Kills in the past, and there's albums that we haven't covered on the show that I would like to one day, maybe, but this one will have to be definite to do on when October rolls around, which is just next month, so not that far away. And finally on the list today, we have Soft Play. It's a band formerly known as Slaves, but they changed their name to Soft Play last year. They are a hardcore punk band out of Royal Tunbridge Wells, England, and they just dropped a brand new single, and it's called Punk's Dead. Let me start off by saying just one thing. Yes, this song, yes. This is fun but angry punk energy going into this one. I really dig it. I could literally end the review right there, but I'll keep saying a little more about it. Now, it should be noted that, as I mentioned, the band used to be called Slaves, but they changed that last year to Soft Play because Slaves was problematic, which I'm pretty sure you can see where that's coming from, and it didn't exactly fit who they were anymore. And so, as you can imagine, that made a certain group of people unhappy, let's just say. They called the band woke, and of course that group gave the band a bunch of backlash. So the lyrics of this song altogether are a direct shot at those who tried to tear them down over a simple name change. That's as far as I'm going to go into the politics about it, because we don't really do politics on this channel, but I will just leave that sitting right there. The energy in this song is so great because it goes back and forth between this quicker pace and a halftime pace, and it really helps emphasize different portions of the track. The guitar remains relatively the same throughout the runtime, and I can see where that would be bothersome, but with a change up in drums that keeps happening and that intense and distorted vocal delivery, it really does a good job of covering up for that little flaw. When I say little, I mean like tiny. Like, it doesn't even bother me that much. I just see where other people would be bothered by it. It's a quick track, so unfortunately I don't have too much to say about it, and it is only a two-piece band too, and they do a lot with the sound for just being two guys. So overall, I say this one is an absolute banger. I'm absolutely here for it. And I'm very likely to go back and check out their discography and try out some of the tracks because, I had a lot of fun with this one. This one's fun, so check it out. And that's it. That's all I have for the NMR this week. So thank you very much for checking out these songs with me, if you indeed did. And if you did that exact thing that I just mentioned a second ago, make sure you let me down. Let me down. Yes, do that. Let me down. Don't let me down. You can perk me up by writing down in the comments below what you thought about these songs. I am curious to know your opinions, as it is every single week. I told you mine. I want to hear yours too, so please go ahead and do that. And hey, make sure to... Oh, there's that stupid little bird again. What's that little birdie? Yeah, I'm about to tell them about Rate the Record. Get the hell out of here. Get the actual hell out of here. As if I don't know my own script or whatever. I have no idea why I'm giving myself more work. Make my work worth it. Go to ratetherecord.ca so that way you can find all the streaming links that you would need to follow the podcast. Follow us on our social media pages because all those links are there too. You can get our merch, join the RTR Club, album requests. All of those things are found at ratetherecord.ca. So one more time, ratetherecord.ca. Make sure you're checking that website out no matter where you are. Speaking of the podcast, we've been off this week, but that doesn't mean that we don't have content out. The I Love This Song series has come back. On Monday, I released one for Ozzy Osbourne's Diary of a Madman, and at the point of me releasing this episode, Savannah's for Donald Fagen's IGY, Donald Fagen being of Steely Dan fame. She has that coming out on Thursday, but chances are it's already out by the time you're watching this, so there you go. You can go check out that video as well. And prior to the podcast going on a break, we did episode 89, that was Weezer's The Blue Album. The last time we ever did Weezer on the show, it was rated the worst album on the podcast to date. That was Weezer's Ratitude. But the Blue Album, their debut album, is this their redemption arc? Is this where they get back into the good graces? If you haven't watched it yet, go ahead and do that because we had a lot of fun recording it. The podcast will be back next week with episode 90 as we kind of do the last half of season 5. So make sure you're tuning into that. But before then, you can go watch a bunch of the other content that you missed. It's all good. This is the best time to catch up. So until we see you for the second half of season 5 this coming Monday, go listen to some awesome music, go watch some content. Take care, friends.